old server 1? Is that right?
I believe so, yes. In the early days, I wasn't caught up in the what server was what. I was just trying to grow and get a bit bigger, not be a little fish. So, but I believe, yeah, I was server 1.
And you're formerly known as DanTheEel. Would have been a name I seen around, all right?
That's right, DanTheEel. I think that's just, you know what it is when you start a game and you put in a name and every variation of that name is already taken. So I had to go something a little left field that was a bit unique. It stuck with me for a while, but obviously as time's gone on, the game styles evolved, and I guess I've evolved to a new name now, TripleHHH, which I guess has a double meaning at the time. Was
you can tell us,
HOM Hard.
Yeah.
Now I guess it's I don't know. So I'll have to think of another variant of that now if things change.
Hungry, horny, but happy.
That sounds like me too. Yes, that sums me up.
So you're level what? Are you level 35 yet?
34 at the
34?
moment. We'll be 35 in another 11 days.
And you're mostly free to play, are you?
Correct, yes. I did buy a few packs pre-merge back in the early days, but after all the schmozzle that was the merge, I pretty much haven't spent anything since then.
And just, I suppose, for anybody's benefit that isn't familiar with the Founder server, or that is just checking out the video and not on our server, you're with Can Alliance. Can emerged. How old are Can? Are a couple of months old?
Probably 6 to 12 months, I guess. I've been kicking on for a little bit now.
There was a rumour I heard when Can got formed that Can actually... It was very nice timing if this is the case. Now, be honest with me, and don't be fucking claiming credit here now for something that, if it just sounds good, right? But it came out around the time that Can, the officer, came out and the augment stuff and all of that there, and then Can emerged. And I'm sure a lot of servers had it, but I was told that Can stood for Kill HOM All Now or something like that.
The other way, it's spelled K-A-H-N.
K-A-H-N. So Kill All HOM Now.
But apparently, from what I found out, because it was Rampant that initialized that server, is I believe he said that was his old dog's name.
Okay.
He had a dog called Khan, and he's just named, and then it just so happened to all tie in. Then of course we had to play on words and that, but I believe initially, I think he said it was his old dog's name.
Okay, but you did adapt it to Kill All HOM Now.
Of course.
Who came up with that one?
I don't know. I think it could have been Billy. I think when he was in there, we were all just talking crap in chat, and he's like, "Oh, bang, that," and then we all just laughed and thought, "You know what? That works. Let's run with that."
Thanks, Belly. Thank you very much. Yes, very appropriate. So Can Kill All HOM Now, clearly not friendly with my alliance. Might be a wee bit unsettling for some people that yourself and myself can sit here and chat so relaxed about the whole thing. Would that be your sense of it?
Oh, that's it. What would you say? We're frenemies, are we?
Yeah, I think so. Besties.
I mean, like I said, we can sit here and have a chat, but I'm sure if your shield dropped, I'd come over and give you a knock.
Yeah. And to be fair, do you see, before we were chatting there for a wee while before we started, but to be fair, and I said it to you when I was putting my shield up, I was sitting there when I was looking at it thinking, this fucker could very, very easily have his BlueStacks open while he's talking to me, and I'm all focused on recording, and the bastard could drain me if my shield drops, And to be fair, I'd have to give it to you if that was the case. I think Laserdad tried to bait me that way the other night by getting all chatty and nice to me in game chat, and Monkey came and got a load out of me, a load of dilithium out of me. I think that was a setup.
That's it. Get you busy looking over here, and then we'll get hit over there.
You've done a bit of business with them guys. Monkey was in Can and all them, and kind of them Black Ops thing. There was the whole Black Ops thing. Can was Black Ops.
what that I believe came about from is obviously ROG had its rules, its ceasefires, its little agreements. A lot of the players from there were, I think, getting a bit restless. So that a lot of them did jump across to Khan because we had the option of, well, hit what you want. There's no rules. You find a base, you go kill it. And I think that appealed to a lot of people that had, I guess, itchy trigger fingers, sort of sick of being in an alliance, being told, no, don't hit this person. We've got a ceasefire with them. So at the time, a few of the ROG players, like Monkey and Suzuku and all that, did jump over because there was an appeal there to go out and get your trigger off. Obviously, that lasted. Each player ran its own sort of course of time, and they've all most of them have sort of returned back to ROG now that the style of gameplay has changed, where there doesn't really appear to be any more sort of server-wide ceasefires, only individual personal ones. So, which is, I think, has been adopted by pretty much most of the major alliances now here, that, it's sort of a no-holds-barred type thing.
I would have the odd question from people on other servers at times relating to how we do business. And we've been through our fair share of rules and ceasefire agreements and ROW, as they call it, the rules of engagement and all of that stuff. And we've advanced on a wee bit. I think we've matured. I think we've distilled the gameplay down, because there's so few bases or so few players on our server that it had to go where it's gone. And I think we've established certain fundamentals about what's beneficial in terms of gameplay, the PvP aspect of it in particular. I don't think anybody's suffering too hard, even though it's really not a safe place to be if you don't have good shield management on our server,
Well, that's it. The players that remain on the server, they've obviously learnt to adapt. Everyone's learnt the lesson. Some learn it the hard way, that if you get caught with your shields down, you're going to lose everything. And now the fact that nearly every alliance has got that same sort of mentality, it is a very, I guess, a dog eat dog sort of situation where people are checking bases every 5 minutes, just watching for those shields to drop, and then straight in there. So obviously we've lost a lot of players. A lot of players have been drained and just thrown in the towel.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of others have picked themselves up. They've got enough tokens up their sleeve to sort of get themselves rolling again. So I guess it's just a natural attrition of the server and the game, that some people, once they get beaten, they just take their chips and leave, and others roll the dice again and try again.
Yeah, and I suppose there'll be people listening to this that their ears will have pricked up when we started talking about Founder Server, the rules that we play by and stuff, and you were talking there about how Can was attractive to other players from other alliances because you dropped a lot of the rules and just said, if it's blue, we're going to hit it, kind of thing. Now, there will be those in HOM that will say, well, if you didn't know about it, there were certainly ROG using you for their own purposes against HOM, right? And I don't think that's tinfoil hat stuff. This tinfoil hat reference is something that's doing the rounds at the minute. I don't think I think that's plausible, right? However, regardless of what it is, yous are down to your core now in Can, and it had that attractive thing of hit everything, and the guys are still playing by them rules now to go back to ROG, because everybody's kind of said, well, this is the way that it is. And HOM have been doing this for a while as well. The only real difference in HOM and Can, I reckon, is your DNA, where your DNA originated. Your style of play is probably much the same, And I guess that it's that idea of having no rules is it's a lot easier in terms of not having to worry about providing screenshots of whose minor you just hit or got hit by or whatever. You take it on the chin and you move on and you try to get him the next time.
That's it. At the core of it, this is a war game. It's not Farmville. We don't just sit out there mining all day. There's got to be a bit of action, a bit of attacking and defending. But Yeah, I think in the founders server in its infancy, while everyone was sort of while we were had a greater population, it was like that. You'd have a few little scuffles here and there, and this person didn't like him, but I guess that everyone was covered under like a ceasefire generally until somebody had a itchy trigger finger, but then stuff would happen. Everyone would kiss and make up, and we'd all go back to happy mining again. But I think being such the server that's been around for so long, it's sort of it got boring. People, their warships were getting bigger. They were getting more powerful. Of course, you want to go test them out. You don't want to have your latest warship just sitting there in mothballs doing nothing. You're going to go out there and test it against someone's base or against someone else's warship. And obviously, our server has now sort of evolved into that more, I guess, hostile. Yeah, like you said, sort of a no holds barred type thing.
Yeah.
Of course, there's some people that have personal ceasefires, but
yeah, and that's the kind of thing I'm hearing from other players on other servers now as well. Is this idea of some of them have matured a little bit faster than others. Some of them have lost players, lost lower in player population, decline in player population, and they're looking. Their strength levels have caught up with us to a large degree, and they're casting an eye over at us, and they're going, we could hack it with them guys. That's where I want to be. And we come to server mergers and talk about that in a couple of minutes. But I suppose it's fair to say that yourself coming in here and talking with me, aside from what other people are paying attention to around how we do business, there's going to be plenty of people on our servers going to be listening with keen interest to see how these two content creators, because you make your own videos, and I recommend people go and check out TripleHH's channel, and I'll link it below. But these two content creators from the founder server talking to each other, I'd like to think this is an interview to you because, like, you're an interesting character, right? You've been probably you're up there in the higher echelons in terms of rank when it comes to the most hated player from a HOM point of view, and you've been through your period of time yourself in terms of taking your pot shots at HOM, taking your getting your dig in, like getting a shot at them. You were one of the leading figures for a period of time on all of that. So there'll be those that are aware of this on our server who may be sitting with a notebook ready to take notes on what's going on here between these two characters or these two alliances or whatever, do you want to elaborate a little bit just on former conflicts, former tensions that might have been there, or what, considering the people from our own server that are listening, what?
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's well, firstly, I do have to thank most of the guys in HOM because it's you guys that have gotten me where I am now with all the millions and millions of resources that I have liberated from your coffers. But of course, yeah, being ex-ROG and having always that ROG versus HOM sort of rivalry, there's always been that sort of hostility and animosity. So of course I was jumping on the bandwagon of HOM are evil, HOM are bad, HOM are cheating, they got HackerBot, they've got LCARs, they got Hive Mind, all of that. Again, as we've all been through it, we all know the stories and all that, but it is now all water under the bridge. We're moving on. The game's sort of getting into a different sort of phase now with a reduced population. I'm finding, while still being in Khan and enjoying that style of game, being such a small alliance, it is missing out on some of the rewards, things like Armada rewards, some of the faction events and the alliance events, where obviously having an alliance with a lot more people in it benefits. Like, in saying that, we do usually come in the top 10 of nearly every alliance event anyway, even though we only have 3 or 4 members. But yeah, it's the fact that the whole server population is dropping now. It's just, in my point of view, it's putting a different spin on the game.
Right. Now, I guess I don't know. Like I guess we should tell people. Like people are talking about this already. Let's face it. People are already in their wee back channels and chatting away and whatever else. And the Can lads know. The HOM lads know that there's been a bit of chat about you coming over for a little while or for a long while or whatever that turns out to be. But you were in for what, like 5 minutes?
Oh, that's all I needed to get my helps.
Right. So you got in for a couple of minutes, and then were you kicked out, or did you leave?
Yeah, I believe it was psychosis. I guess it hit the big red button.
Yeah.
He said enough's enough. But as it was that day, I was just doing the rounds. It was a slow day. I had, I think, 27 days required for me ops updates. So I just jumped from alliance to alliance because I generally have a good rapport with most. And like I said, I jumped into most alliances.
And it's nice as a content creator to have that relationship and be able to do that around different alliances. I certainly don't have that luxury.
Well, that's it. You've got those evil HOM tags. You know, not a lot of people won't let you in with that. But I guess that also stems back to that past, to that whole. People can relate to that old anti-HOM sort of bashing that's been happening on the server. That oh yeah, TripleHHH, he's against HOM. He's a good bloke. Yeah, jump in here. We'll give you some helps and move around.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Yes, HOM was the last alliance that I visited, and I did get some helps from you guys.
Good.
So, again, thank you for that. It all helped. Like I said, 27 days for an upgrade. I know it's just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come. But hey, if you can shave a few days off, why not?
Now, some of the lads, think you're going to come and you're going to be a spy or some sort of liability or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Different opinions, different people, right? But not everybody would be necessarily pleased because of the history that's there, as we've outlined. I don't think if you're not from the founder server, I don't think you could fully appreciate how deep the scars might be for some, right? But I would have suggested, I think I said it to yourself, and I might have mentioned it to some of the HOM lads, that Econ was a bigger risk in my book. Pearly Shells was definitely a bigger risk in my book, and both of them, I think, certainly Econ must have had a positive experience because he's still there, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Pearly bears any real animosity with HOM. I think Pearly knows that Pearly could return to HOM if necessary and get a few helps or hang out for a while or whatever it is. Pearly doesn't necessarily get on with everybody in HOM. I don't think it's a requirement that TripleHHH does. I don't think it's a requirement that me and Econ necessarily get on. We've had our blowouts, you know. But you've been chatting to Econ, a few of the lads, I think Taz is there, you know, and different lads there like that. They play hard, but they're not bad lads. Like,
well, that's the thing. We can sort of move beyond the game. Like, yeah, I'll base them, or they'll base me if we get caught. But in saying that, we can sit back and have a chat and go, oh, okay, yeah, good one. Yeah, you got me, or I got you. I think it's progressed from that animosity where you're going to just come back with cursing and insults. You know, like, we've all been based. We've all had ships hit. It's part of the game. We've all been there. Like, the people that have left on the server now have probably been there countless times.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen. So there's no point harboring animosity or hatred or anger or anything like that if it happens, because you know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it happens, it's your fault. You fell asleep at the wheel. You didn't put your shield up. You had too many vodkas and forgot about it and you got hammered. That's your burden to bear, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us know. So we have a joke. I think the last time, well, it was a while back when you guys got me last.
Yeah, and I'm going to run with that footage in the background if you don't mind.
Oh, yes. I believe that night I was having a few vodkas watching a movie and I didn't pay attention to my alarm going off that my shields were down. But of course, it didn't take you guys too long to sniff it out. And it is what it is. You know, I sat there, I had a laugh. My wife said, I thought you would have taken it a lot harder. And I laughed. I said, these guys are just taking back all the stuff that I've taken from them anyway. You know, so it's no skin off my nose. I took this from them. They've taken it back. Chances are, in time, I'll take it back again. You know, so, and that's part of the game. There's no hatred or animosity. It's just, like I said, it's a game. We play a game for fun and enjoyment. And yeah, I think over the time I've separated that sort of anger and hatred. And I'm, as a lot of people in the game know, I'm willing to talk to anybody. If someone sends me a private message for whatever, we'll have a chat. People ask for help or advice. People just want to have a banter or have a bit of a sling a little low blow at each other. But it's I believe it's in a fun manner now. It's not narky. It's not
Yeah, and there's a few guys out there that I'd love to get in and talk to us like this. Like, I tied with this idea one time, right? Because I have them HOM tags. I'm forever tainted. I tied with this idea of could we convince somebody like TripleHHH to host a round table kind of forum and record it. And if he needs me to be there, I'll be there, and I'll help him out. But it won't be my place. It won't be somewhere that people might feel like they're not welcome. Like, and I'd like to think that you, apart from Billy kicking you out of my Discord before, like I'd like to think that there was never an issue with you being a different alliance or an enemy or any of that kind of stuff when you joined my Discord. It's one of the things I credited you with, and Belly. Had to have words with Belly though for fucking slightly low blow there, him and Monkey the other night. But anyway, but you guys had the balls to walk into any forum and stand your ground, and that in my book deserves respect. So any question mark over respect it's gone, or practically gone, as soon as somebody comes and talks to you in this kind of human way. Some have declined that. I still hold out hope that they will maybe change their mind, or that others will step forward. I would love to get a bunch of people from around our server chatting. I don't know if it's possible, but I tied with the idea that maybe you could be the host, because you might be able to attract characters that I couldn't.
It's something I could always try, but it all depends on...
I think that's fucking dead in the water now. If you're going to go and wear HOM tags, man, that's it, over.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm still the same Triple H,
Yeah, but people aren't going to see it like that.
No, but it's... I still think, though, a lot of people hold that animosity in the server, and regardless, like, to have a sort of open forum like that, a lot of people just wouldn't be interested.
Could Pinky do it?
What, like, host it?
Yeah.
I guess if he
Harry and Suzaku have already done a bit of content as well, right? Econ's done a bit of content, right? Triple H and Amorgin have done a bit of content. So you get them bunch around the table, start thrashing shit out.
Well, that could work, because there's a common thread there. Like, if we're all looking at content, we're all looking at doing something, making something, creating something. Again, it puts the game to the side. This is something tied in with the game, but not the actual game.
Right.
Be it we want to make a video or a clip, or have a discussion like this, open table.
Something
it's
to think about,
because there's something to build on from there.
Yeah, something to think about. Like, it would at least challenge some of the other characters to come forward. If we're not reflecting it as it is, then step forward and reflect it yourself. Then any amount of us can host that. But anyway, that's an idea for another day. It was just something that tied with there. Don't know even if Pinky would be up for it, but I'd love to see Char and Rommel and Phil and all them guys around the table and really getting down to Monkey, really getting down to it. Like, get all fucking four of them boys around the table and let them have at it. Maybe we all need to be there as adjutants to, like, bring common sense back into the room and say, right, lads, like, okay, let's bring it back. But let them have it.
Definitely a conversation I'd want to be a fly on the wall to hear, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. That's real content for me. Most people might be interested in that. I'd love that. Anyway, there's an idea for Pinky.
I guess all we can do is we can put it out there, but and let them decide if it's something that they would be interested in.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit of a big deal. You're going to come over and get tags and fight alongside HOM for a little while. I'm quite confident. I think I said earlier, I'm quite confident that you'll feel at home. I think once you get the lay of the land, I think you'll realise that you made the right decision. I'd be confident of that with anybody on our server. I don't believe there's anybody on our server that, without a little bit of balls or a little bit of humility or a little bit of something, you know, and I don't mean humility in any kind of bad way there. I mean it in the sense that you're not going in with an ego and an attitude, you know. If you can drop that shit, I think anybody on our server would feel at home where we are. Like the crowd of arseholes, Tom, at times. Like I know that because I'm in there, and I can be an arsehole too. But and I think Occam said to me earlier the exact same thing. Is like, you know, we can all be arseholes, you know. But remembering it's a game, and we've had too many bad experiences in the past with individuals who were friends with some of us, and not friends with others, who have taken things just far too seriously. And we've distilled down to our essence now. We're down to the hardcore. And we're looking at the potential of server merges. And I really want to pick your brains on this, because I would rather be fighting at your side in any potential merge than running India out there in the galaxy and not knowing if there's going to be hostility or not, while I'm dealing with some other fucker that's looking to dominate us.
Triple H is coming up to get you.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing your game, if you're playing your game, and you're hit HOM hard and you're kill all HOM now, I don't need that if our server gets merged.
Well, that's the thing. Well, obviously we need fresh blood in the server. Like I said, we're dwindling away to just, you know, the leftovers of what it once was. For the game to sort of get another breath of life into it, we need more players in our server. That then brings on the $1 million question: is will our server, I guess, band together to take on and, you know, the adversaries from the new server, or will it mix? You know, will there still be this HOM and ROG rivalry, and HOM will merge with or become aligned with somebody in the new server, while ROG will become aligned, and I guess still have those hostilities, but have it sort of spread over the members from both servers? That's what we're going to have to wait and see, because if it does happen, we don't know who's going to be in this other server. You know, they could have whales that are going to be bigger than Charge and Hiltz or Phil or Rommel, or they could be just all, I guess, mid-range players, you know. So we don't know what could happen, don't know what to expect. But will we stick as a founder server versus the invaders, or will it sort of all just dilute its way? That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like, listen, I haven't fallen out with too many people, and even though I don't believe it for a second, I do get nice messages from ROG once in a while saying, we all like you, we don't always agree with you, but we all think you're one of the sound ones, you know, this kind of stuff, and that's nice to hear, even though there's a bit too much butter there, you know. But okay, right? Some of that butter was laid on me the other night by Laser Dad when fucking Monkey was coming up my arse, like, you know what I mean, right? So I try not to fall for too much of it, right? Take some of it with a pinch of salt, but it's still nice to hear, right? It's still nice to not be receiving abuse, you know?
Yep.
Right, so that's okay. We can have a bit of a laugh about it. All right. The likes of myself and yourself talking is testimony to that. The likes of myself and Econ talking, the likes of yourself and Econ talking is a testimony to it. Even though I don't think you have done any joint kind of recording or anything on it, like, but it's happened, you know. You know, that might come as a surprise to some people. You know, others might be refreshed by it, and others won't give a shit. But we're sitting here not knowing really. We can't predict what's coming around the corner with a server merge. We can sit here speculating all night about could go this way, could go that way. We can't predict it. The one thing we do have power over is how we collectively approach it. And there was a bit of banter there on Pinky's last video because he used the hashtag gods of the game right? And I think Octo's having a bit of fun with that at the moment, because the HOM lads were looking at that going, fucking, who the hell do they think gods of the game? Fuck it, right? But I had been using, you might remember a conversation, I had been using gods of the game, and I was saying we all should be using gods of the game, because this is where the gods reside, because no matter how much you think you know this game, these guys have seen it in many different incarnations, without even being able to nail it necessarily, unless you're a developer or a coder or something. You can't really tell the how you know this game, but you know this game because you've seen different versions of this game so many times that you know how the mechanics work on almost you've internalized it, you know, almost in an instinctual way. You know the mechanics. This is where I think we have an advantage. This is where I think that there's a lot of people out there who are attracted to come to our server, that if it were server transfers instead of server merges, you'd have a flood of individuals who would want to come to our server. And I think that's why. I think some people recognize that. We don't have it all nailed. I don't pretend for 1 minute that we have all of the answers, or we've got it figured out. But Jesus, like, you think about on average per head of population, we've got more content creators than any other server. We've got senior moderators, and we've had other moderators. We've got a lot of our people from our server who are responsible for developing the largest community resource that's there, larger than Star Trek Fleet Command Official. You know, this all originates in our server, and there are many other talented people there on our server. So it's a credit where it's due type deal, I think. And like I said, if you're gonna come and play with us, then have a bit of respect for your elders. You know.
Well, that's it. We've got guys that have been here since day dot, that have seen it from what it was to what it's become.
And there are no pushovers.
Well, that's it. And you got to factor in too, you got these other guys on other servers that could be whales, and they've got, you know, the latest ships and all these massive resources, but that's just because they've got the biggest credit card. You know, just because you've bought the most packs and you've been able to jump the queue doesn't necessarily going to mean you're a better player than the guy that could be 5 or 10 levels behind you. That's got there the hard way. You know, he's done the hard yards, he's done the battles, he's done all his missions, he's got there that way, as opposed to just burning out the credit card.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest on the server. I've got, you know, I'm a level 45, whatever. So be it. Yeah, you've been playing the game for 6 months, and you know you've done. And do you think huge amounts of cash?
Like the one thing, and maybe we shouldn't really be talking about this, I don't know, but the one disadvantage that I can see is if we encounter these kind of guys, that people can't get over nonsense that happened a long time ago. Well, you mentioned water under the bridge a wee while ago, like that, you know, bygones be bygones and all of that there. They've done it before. The lads have pulled together before, like remembering that we did come through a server merge before, so the lads did need to pull together and figure it out. We have that experience under our belt. That also, I believe, gives us an advantage. But where we have a disadvantage is the disunity that's there. You know, how fractious some of our players can be, and bitter about old things. Like I'll be annoyed for a couple of days, surely, about things. But if it's actually not important, I let it go. I try to get on with it. You know, some lads just don't seem to be able to do that. And I wonder, could we ever see Char and Rommel and Hiltz and Phil and Psychosis and whoever all getting together and taking down one of these big fuckers, like?
Possibly. What's that saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Yeah.
So if we have a new, let's call them an invader from another server that could be a level 45, 44, whatever, obviously it's going to, the only way to take them down would be the collaboration of the bigs from our server, would be the only viable way. But on the other token, then there's the diplomacy option. Oh, this guy's so big, let's, you know, become friends with him. Let him, you know, be our chums.
Yeah.
So we've got the big guy, you know, with the big stick in the background. So when we continue our internal bickering, we can always call the big guy in to come and help, you know.
Yeah, can you? That kind of, though, is a little bit dependent on us coming up with a new rules of engagement, though. Now, I know some of the lads have been, I know Monkey, well, I'd heard Monkey had suggested, and a few others have been talking a few times about, like, maybe just have OP miners are allowed to be hit. Just let's not hit underprotected. Right? That would be an easy enough thing to do, but there'd still be admin with that. There'd still be, you hit my miner, it was underprotected, send a screenshot, diplomatic channels,
Yeah.
and people have kind of got past that now, I think.
Well, that's it. You look back, 12 months when all that was at its peak. You had like the ceasefire Discord channels. It'll just, it was overtime. The people running it was like a full-time job, because you'll have these mid to low level players that have hit somebody else's mid to low level player, and like you said, no resources lost, but you got to go for all the rigmarole, contact them. Blah, blah.
Do we go back to that?
To what end?
Do we go back to that if we get big fish?
I don't know. That's the thing. Do the people on our server want to go back to that? That's more the question. We've sort of evolved or changed from that to where we are now. Do we want to stay where we are now? Do we want to take a step back to how it was? Do we want to take a step forward to whatever the future may be? That's again the $1 million question. Like, people have got a taste of a different style of gameplay now.
We could really have some interesting footage of and maybe the 2 blocks survive. Maybe the 2 blocks just recruit these whoever they can recruit on side and go at it again in a different environment.
Well, that's it. Yeah, replenish the ranks with some fresh blood and keep the ongoing war ongoing. Or a server merge might bring another player into the rank. What happens if another alliance comes in that's equivalent to HOM and ROG in power and players? Now we've gotten from just 2 sides of the coin to a triangle.
And the intrigue would certainly develop there.
100%, because then obviously there'll be the diplomatic approach, there'll be the pew 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 blow 'em up approach. It's
and all the Machiavellian approaches. And whose alt is who and all of that shit that we know nothing really about.
Really, we know Econ and he's 6,000 alts, but these new people, how many will they have?
Yeah, it could be very interesting times altogether.
And that also leads on to the next big question: when could this happen? It's been whispered and rumored for a while, but when is Scopely actually going to pull the trigger and say the merge is happening? Have
you any feelings on that?
That's only rumours and hearsay, but how long were Armadas coming for? Every time you logged in, Armadas are coming. It just took 3 years or something ridiculous like that. So, and then also hopefully Scopely know what they're doing with a merge this time, so we don't have a merge like with the last merge and people
mess it up.
Locked out and losing stuff, and other people gaining stuff unfairly, whilst others lost stuff and didn't get nothing back in compensation. It's that's hopefully Scopely got their act together now and know what they're doing on that side of things.
Well, you'd hope that's why we're waiting so long. We did have a conversation about this in another video about how we're looking at it probably sooner rather than later, but it could be up until the end of the year. We just really don't know, and that there's a lot of concerns out there. But it was in that survey that was sent out. People were asked all of their opinions on a variety of different subjects. Server merges were front and center of a lot of that. So
yes.
Yeah.
I think we need it. We need it because, like I said, I don't know what our population is now, but it's minimal compared to what it has been. And as time goes, people are still dropping off. We're not getting anyone new into the server. When I put my alfoil hat on, my conspiracy theories, I'm thinking, is Scopely happy for us to just sort of kill ourselves out until nothing and then just shut down the server, saying, "Oh, this server's now no longer viable. Thanks for playing the game. See you later." Because being the founder server, we experience stuff that other people on other servers
and
haven't.
And this is the thing. and like I'll be very real world about this and connect it to the game. The bottom line is that Elcars, Phil, myself as content creator, despite the fact that I don't have a great relationship with Scopely, all of that is a factor if they shut down our server. Unless it was worth our while, then there'd be too much fallout and too much influence out there in the wider community. I don't think they could risk it. Now, like they could do it, but that would be shitting on Panic and what Panic has built as well, and putting him under severe pressure. I don't think necessarily that would be a wise move by Scopely.
Unless they just delay the inevitable, let us fight amongst ourselves until there's only a handful.
It's a valid question. Would we even be included in it? I think, to be honest with you, though, that like we've got a significant level of respect. I think. I don't think we are the threat. I don't think we are seen like that. I think we have a significant level of respect. And again, I don't want to be fucking sounding like I'm blowing smoke up Phil's arse, but I would say Phil has done a fair bit in terms of the diplomacy with Scopely, in terms of how our server is viewed. I'd imagine that, and I don't mean that in the sense that he's gone on any kind of like diplomatic offensive with them. I just think that his cool-headedness has been of value to them when cool heads were needed in the role that he enjoys there. And I think that cool-headedness is valued, which means then that he's respected and valued, which means that the players that he plays with, enemies and friends alike, have a level of respect. Not to mention that many of Scopely, if they pay attention to us already, they'll recognise that our players go back longer than some of their employment contracts. We were there before Panic. Yes. We were there before Gala. We were there before all these moderators. We were there before any of these people. And I think they know that. And I think they know that there's a healthy respect for the founder server out there among the wider population. And I don't mean the game population. I mean, this is a place of glory. This is the halls of Valhalla. This is fucking, you can be a whale. I think I said this to you before. You can be a whale on any server and hold great status. No problem. Fair play to you. But I don't give a shit how many jellies you've got, or how many fucking cars you've got in your garage, or any of that there. If I see your base unshielded and I've got friends that can crack it, I'm going to feed off you. Right? And that brotherhood will be what you will fear. If we lose that, then I think we lose the essence of what our server has been up until now, because we have defied the rules when it comes to, and some other servers have probably done this too, in the sense that whales and spenders play along with free to play like us, and guys like us, and particularly guys like yourself, like, you're a fair bit up the rankings compared to me in terms of your stats, right, in PvP and stuff, resources raided and this kind of thing. You play this game. You haven't spent an awful lot on this game, but yet you're respected by much larger players, and they know you've got a bite. We're the living proof that it's possible to be free to play and still punch above your weight.
Be competitive. Yep.
Yeah, that's why I don't fear anybody. And that's why I think it's great that you're coming over here, is because I think you'll fit right in. I think ROG are playing catch up, and I don't know if it's possible that they can see past old history. I honestly don't know. The guys don't want to have that conversation with me. I've invited them to come and have a frank conversation with this, and I'll invite them again. Any one of them on the founder server are very welcome to come in here for the tea and biscuits, So, yeah, there it is.
That's it. I guess we're in the mercy of the unknown right now. What's going to happen and when?
And will we be allowed to be part of it?
Yes. Or how many of us will be left by the time that happens?
Mm-hmm. Interesting days ahead, Triple H. DanTheEel, Ivan Drago. is there anything in terms of the game? Currently, we're in this Borg, all of that. There, is there anything before we start to wrap up? Is there anything that you wanna give a mention to?
About the Borg, I'm just plodding along doing my missions like everyone else. Obviously not buying nothing, so I'm always that one step behind. But the fact that they are bringing in new missions, even though people are finishing them in like a day or two, it's putting a little bit of life back into the game. But that's the problem. The content comes too few and far between, and people are starving for it. You know, they bring in 30 or 40 new missions, and people just smash it. It's done in a day or two, and then we go back to, twiddling our thumbs, just doing our dailies. Like, it's, if we can get some fresh, decent content across the board, not just an add-on, not just
if there was a new mission every day, maybe it'd be more engaging. And if you missed a few days, you can do the 3 or 4 that you haven't done.
Something to that extent. Like, other games have things like that. Like, yeah, they have their dailies where you just go in and do the same clicking of the buttons every time. But, like I think you mentioned before, like an option to replay a mission or do a mission again, or, to get some rewards back. Maybe not to the same level of when you did it the first time, but something like that, just so gives you something else to do when you finished your dailies and you're like, well, what am I going to do now? Sit here and watch my mine until somebody comes across and whacks it.
Yeah, I like the idea. Like, they do this already. I like the idea of the way they there's a synergy between what's going on and the events then that they give you at times, right? So you'll have your daily swarms, for example, that you'll be going out and killing swarms anyway, but then you'll get an event that's with the swarms, so you can double up, right, and do both, right?
Yep.
So stuff you're going to be doing anyway, and you get these bonus rewards if you just put in that little bit of an extra effort, right? I like that, right? I like the idea that the shit we're going to be doing anyway, that there's an added incentive every so often to do that, right? And I think I suggested an idea there, and I really don't. I'm not in the business. This is too good an idea, maybe not to mention. I'm not in the business of giving Scopely too many ideas and doing their job for them when they've such a complete level of disrespect and let their moderators kick me out of their Discord channel for no reason, like, right? So I'll wait on the apology for that trip, right? But however, rant over about that. The idea was that I think it was the incentive to go and crack a base. It's hard if you're saving resources for an upgrade or doing something that's hard, and especially then when somebody could be online and baiting you, it's hard to go and smash so many ships off a base to crack it, right?
Yep.
It's a big decision to make with the current base raiding mechanics. It's nice if you have an alliance that'll help you do it, share the load, but if you're doing it yourself, there's always a risk. Give me that added incentive to crack a base, where if I do 5 repairs on my Saladin, I'll get faction credits. There's a way for me to get faction credits. So I'm repairing the Saladin, I'll get, say, Federation faction credits for that. I'll get Romulan for the Centurion, I'll get Klingon for the Bortus. And then maybe more faction credits if it's a Gladius and an Intrepid and stuff you're using, and then more again.
Yep.
Right? So it gives me an incentive to smash these ships and repair them, and I'm getting something I need in return. So regardless if I'm being baited, it's still worth my while. I'll still go and do it, and it encourages that PvP.
Well, that's it, because, okay, I'm going to do a whole bunch of repairs now. I'm going to burn through my speed-ups. I'm going to burn through my resources. But, okay, not all is lost.
Yeah.
I have been given some faction credits in lieu of, or some
I can live with losing the Tritanium and the Dilithium, right? Give me some speed-ups and faction credits, and we're laughing. I will crack bases all night for you.
Yep. And again, that works in Scopelys, I guess, in their favour, because people playing the game, they're burning through the resources, which means either 1, they're going to have to find some, mine some, 2, they're going to have to buy a pack or 2, money back in their pocket. So I guess in the big scheme of things, there is their financial benefit to them, which is, I guess, their bottom line, what their main concern is. And it gives us something more to do playing the game. It opens up another facet, I guess.
I want to name a few characters. I didn't get to do it earlier. My concern with anything of what we talked about, guys like have a chat. I'd love to get him into the video, and I might yet. Like, he didn't seem too averse to it. Seems to have a lot to say. I'd like to get him in. Myself and Kitty Yara just never seen eye to eye. Back from his RPH days, we ran into a bit of conflict. Same with Corbin. I'd love to get the guys into a video, but I just don't know if they'd be up for it. I don't think I'm their favourite person. All of them guys always seem to pour cold water on anything I suggest or come up with. Like, on a personal level, I get on with most people, but there are people there that I clash with sometimes as well, I guess. So I'd like to appeal to them guys. Come on ahead and do a video with me, Trip. You know, any of them at all, and maybe hopefully they're watching this and they're settled a wee bit with the fact that myself and yourself can do this. You know, we did have a few words in our time, like.
Yeah, but as I said, it's a game. You know, I've raided you, you raid me. At the end of the day, it's a game. I don't hate you any more than you hate me in real life or anyone else. And I think that's, I guess, what everyone else has to sort of come to terms with and accept it, that, yeah, shit probably went down in the past. You know, people angry, upset at others. But at the end of the day, this is just a game. And, you know, there's some unique characters on this server. You know, you jump onto Galaxy Chat at any time and see what people are going on about. This is just another avenue. Instead of sitting there typing it all, come in here and have a group chat. It doesn't have to be, I guess, a one-on-one, does it? If you're happy to have half a dozen people in here and everyone's free to speak their mind.
That's it. If people feel more comfortable with that, we could accommodate that, no problem. And you know what? Listen, if you want to host something like that there, I'll come to yours and you host it, or whatever way you want to work it, you know. Same with Pinky or any of the guys there. Like, I'm up for it at any time.
Well, I guess all we can do is put it out there, and like as you said, it's up to the others if they're willing to let bygones be bygones or such, or if obviously you're hated for life until you die, and then they'll just find somebody else to hate next.
Yeah. So I suppose some of this mightn't have been too interesting to people who are not on our server, or people that just come to the channel to see what hints and tips they can get. There's a few nuggets of wisdom in what we've talked about, I think. For others, I think there's an element of a message there that, like you're after saying, that, you know, frenemies, you know, you don't have to hate each other in reality. Get over it, take the hit, and remember it's pixels, kind of thing. And so maybe there's a good example in us doing this and saying that we can talk to each other. But for the guys on our server, it's a greater message, I think, and I'm proud to play with them. I'm proud of the memories that I've made with them. I've always said that doing these videos is as much about posterity as anything else, that there hopefully come a day when I can look back on this and, you know, remember fondly all the crack that we had, and none of the individual base raids will really matter, except the standout ones that I got to record or whatever, you know. So I want to thank you for making my game experience a lot richer, for having the balls to come to my channel in the first place and then eventually record with me. And
not a drama, mate, not a drama.
Yeah, we'll throw it out to the rest of the lads and see if they want it, and we'll wrap it up at that, Trip. And thanks again, and everybody else, take care of yourselves, and we'll chat soon.